Uh, speaking of gaslighting, right?
No, we're not doing that, Craig. I love and support you. I will become a robot. But
Right.
but yeah. No, I have really enjoyed this series. I love CRD. Like I like, I wish him the best,
Especially
going
since
full
he's done full
time.
time.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm happy to support him, and I'm happy to get more regular
Mhm.
content. It brightens my day every time I see one of his videos. Like there's a few YouTubers that when I see their videos, I'm like, I have to watch this as soon as
Yeah,
possible. And he's one of them.
I've jokingly called Catha Raid Dude to Anita the bastard child of technology connections and tech mode.
Yes. I like that. I like that a lot.
But he took over after his mom more than his dad.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that. Yeah, his YouTube channel is one. There's a YouTube channel I watch called Grim Reapers.
Hmm.
They're a DCS group that do a pretty wide variety of stuff, but I especially whenever one of their war games pops up, I like watching those because they'll run interesting scenarios in DCS world that are a lot of fun.
Yeah, my YouTube is divided to like random tech shit, gaming, and then cooking stuff. So if you go to my subscription feed, it's like recipe, obscure 80s computer, retro gaming, somebody doing a review on cheap ass bologna. And no, I'm not joking. I went to my subscriptions just to see what was recent, and one of them is who has the best cheap ass bologna, and it's a bologna throwdown,
Yeah,
which I'll be watching that later with Anita most likely.
interesting. Yeah, I go through phases on my YouTube channel where I will subscribe to and then
Mhm.
unsubscribe to, like whatever. Like there's a huge amount of people that are kind of in whatever my current like hyper fixation is,
I
and
guess for me that would be Splatoon lately. I
well,
I had a moment today playing the silly squid game of oh my god, some of this stuff I've been listening to has actually clicked, and I'm made what felt like an actually really good play.
yeah.
Granted, I was playing with an absolute shit weapon because of the game mode, but sorry, continue.
So my YouTube channel or my YouTube subscriptions has kind of filled up with really weird history people, military history people. Like I stumbled across this YouTuber called Laser Pig, and he's British, a fat gay British man who talks military history. And I don't know if it's a bit or if he's actually drunk all the time, but it's lovely. And then through his YouTube channel, I found a few others that are kind of along the same veins. They're not quite as drunk and angry, but they're kind of irreverent history people. It's beautiful. So there's like that, and then stuff like Knowing Better
Mm,
and Emma Thorne and The Friendly Atheist, like a whole bunch of basically anti-Christian,
mm.
anti-right-wing content, and then like tech stuff and the Gymquisition.
Yeah,
That's kind of it.
Gymquisition is something we watch every Monday, even if Anita has really no interest in it. She uh, absolutely loves Jim Stephanie Sterling.
Yep, we thank God for them.
Have my silly squid stuff, and then more like general gaming and also some retro stuff. My cooking, random tech stuff. Um, and you talking about big fat gay British guys made me think of Big Clive.
Yeah,
Although he's not usually drunk, but he has a bit now where every so often where he carbonates a random liquid, usually alcoholic,
yeah.
to see how it handles it. And usually it's a poor choice. I have some of my coffee stuff. I have a few channels for that. Although one seemed a little bitter today. I was watching a review of just some random coffee gear, just kind of in the background, and he says, "You can brew your coffee however you like, or however James Toffman told you to brew it this week." It's just, damn.
Calling him out. That's
I mean, I,
funny though.
I mean, I probably should prune some of this stuff because a couple of the cooking ones have kind of fallen off of, or they've kind of gone into some weird areas. Like one is pretty much just doing podcasts now, radio show esque, which is fun and all. But then there's yeah, I just don't want to listen to that. At least on YouTube, I'll do it on my podcatcher.
Yeah. I have now got a strong aversion to shorts. I liked shorts
Oh,
for a
I've always
while.
hated them.
Yeah, well, I've now gone the other direction on shorts, especially like it. So if you put like if a YouTube channel has shorts every once in a while, it's fine. I just kind of ignore them. But if you start filling up my feed with shorts, I just unsubscribe.
Oh, I have an add-on that actively blocks shorts on Chrome.
I should do that.
I
I do
think
like to
it's
sometimes lay in bed and watch shorts on my phone or something. Like but like that's different. Like I don't want shorts to show up while I'm trying to look at the YouTubes, the actual YouTubes.
I think it actively blocks anything that's below 1 minute and 1 second. Because YouTube doesn't have a way to actually filter out shorts because that doesn't make them money, right?
Yeah.
So the thing, I think that's how it's doing it. Oh, oh wow, that's a thumbnail. Are you subscribed to iFixit?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, they have a MacBook teardown of the 2023 version, and it's great. And it has them with a piece of cheese, like it's a cheese grater.
Nice.
Oh, so yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, while we're talking, I'm going through and unsubscribing from YouTube channels I don't watch anymore. A lot of them are just dead channels that haven't posted in months or years. And like that's, that's fine. Like people move on or their life changes or, maybe something bad happens, I hope not, but people do get sick or die or
just get frustrated with YouTube because
yeah.
that's really what happened with me. And also, it didn't help that one of my main ways of having new content got fucked over, so there was also that.
Yeah. Keep him as soon as I finish unsubscribing from these current.
Oh, and there's also a few anime things because, of course, there is.
Yeah.
The Mother's Basement, the terrible canceled Final Fantasy anime, the Pokemon manga they want you to forget. Although he has a point on this one, just let Goku die.
Yeah. I mean, I like Goku. He's a fun character, but yeah, there's other characters.
Is there?
And you could make new characters. I mean, Gohan is basically just Goku.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That got rid of a decent chunk of subs, but I have more. But I'm not going to go through those right now.
Yeah, because we have story time.
We have story time. So,
speaking of emotional damage.
Yeah. Is Father's Day specifically a US holiday or is it other countries as well?
I think at least how we celebrate it, it's a US holiday. I could look into that.
Father's Day is celebrated annually on the third Sunday in June in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, India, and this just says a number of other countries around the world. So it's not just an American holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So this past week was Father's Day, and I wasn't going to do anything except call my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, Happy Father's Day," and then go about my business. But Sunday morning, they texted us and were like, "Hey, do you guys want to go out for dinner for Father's Day?" And Katie and I had a little chat. We're like, "Yeah, it's probably a good idea, like, to keep them happy." It's like managing toddlers.
Gotta keep that inheritance, right?
Yeah. dude, for real. Like, my parents are fucking loaded. If they don't fuck it up and like something doesn't happen that takes that away,
Or
when
they
they
just will it all to Trump.
which they might do, I will be set for the rest of my life. My parents are worth genuinely at least $10 million. Like, they had all of their property evaluated in their business.
Mm.
My dad's business was evaluated at $10 million. Like, I like, for many reasons, like, not just the money, but like, I hate that my parents are such awful, toxic people that I can't spend time with or really get along with. But for better or for worse, that has made me into the person that I am today. And I think I'm a much better person for doing what I'm doing, as opposed to just like going along to stay in the family business to have access to the cash
Not
now.
getting a real job like the family business.
Right. God, it broke my dad's heart when I had wanted nothing to do with his business. And you never could understand why. Other than just like, I didn't want to do it. Like, I wanted to do something else. Like, he never could understand. Like, because my dad is incapable of being self-aware and admitting how much of a narcissist and all the bad things that he's done. Like, all he cares about is, well, being right, being self-centered, He just lacks that self-awareness to be like, you know what? I'm sorry. I did a lot of bad things to you when you were a kid, and I understand why you resent me. I've tried to talk to him about it. But anyways, that's not what the story's about. That's not what story time is.
Well, that's a side story.
That's the story from my therapist that I've talked to on a regular basis about. No, so they call it or text us. They're like, hey, you want to go out for Father's Day? And it's important to manage them like a toddler every now and then so that, we can be like, no, we're busy other times and it's fine. So we go out for Father's Day. We meet them for dinner at Outback Steakhouse in Cleveland, Tennessee, if you are so inclined to look that up. That's about equidistant between our two houses. So, we like steaks. They like steaks. It's right in the middle. Not too difficult. But, I mean, it's Father's Day, right? So you would think Outback doesn't do reservations. Most restaurants, unless you're like a really fancy restaurant, don't do reservations anymore. But they do call ahead seating. So you can call for, in case you've never done this before, dear listener. I don't know. Maybe you're someone who just hates talking on the phone. You have anxiety. You can call ahead and you can say, hey, we're coming with X number of people. We expect to be there at this time. And they'll put you on a list, and basically because you've called ahead, you get priority for tables coming up at that time. I mean, there's still a line, if there's 10 people who call ahead for the same time, will they go in the line just like somebody who didn't call ahead,
But it's like the fast pass, right?
Yeah, basically. Well, my parents didn't do call ahead seating. And so we get there, and they're like, yeah, the wait time is like an hour. And what was it? They told us it was an hour and 15 minutes, and we waited for 45. And I really don't care. Like, I didn't care to wait. I didn't care. My dad usually gets really upset about that, but also he didn't care. I'm pretty sure he had like started pre-drinking before they even left the house, because he seemed like he was a little buzzed up, a little jazzed. So, we get there and we're waiting, and my mom generally hates confrontation. She gets really weird anytime there's any kind of confrontation. Like, she kind of stares off to the side. She won't look you in the eye. She's very anxious about it. And that, I'm pretty sure I know what that is, but, that's not the story. She does not do confrontation well. But Sunday night, she was like, on one. She was being very much like a boomer Karen. So she kept going up every few minutes. Is our table ready yet? Is our table ready? We're hungry. Is our table ready? I'm like, Mom, chill out. You didn't call ahead. It is Father's Day. Like, we're up here for dinner.
I mean, it's almost as bad as Mother's Day.
Like, we can go, if you really want to, like, we can go somewhere else. That's fine. No. Your dad wanted to go to Outback, so we're going to eat at Outback. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. I'm just going to go over here.
Pretend I'm not related to you.
That's pretty standard. The only thing that made that weird is that, like, it's my mom, and she doesn't usually do that. My dad usually does stuff like that. She didn't. My dad got a drink from the bar and sat down, and he was fine, air quotes. So this goes on for the entire time that we're waiting for a table. Finally, we get a table. And, I'm fat, right? I'm fat. There's no other way around it. But I'm not so fat that I can't fit in most places.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, on the other hand, is so fat that there are lots of places he can't fit. So they got us a booth for our table, and my dad did not fit in the booth. And my mom was like, why don't you make your booths big enough for big people? Why didn't you give us a table?
Because he's not big, he's big. I mean, I'm fat, but I can at least fit in booths.
Yeah, I can too. But my so my mom was like,
Is it my preferred thing? No, but I can fit.
They were like, well, why didn't you give us a table? Blah, blah, blah. And she's going off, and the lady's like, and you can go back on the list and wait for a table. My dad asked for a chair. He's like, I'll just sit on the end of the table. It's fine. So they brought him a chair. He sat at the end of the table, and we give him his Father's Day card, and basically it's like, I'm buying dinner. Don't argue with me. Mm-hmm. That's your Father's Day gift, because I can't get my dad anything. He's impossible to buy for. Because if you buy him something, it's always like, oh, like no matter what it is, and because he's got money, he buys whatever he wants anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So as a gesture, I was like, I'm buying dinner. Don't argue with me. Usually, experiences make him happy. So this was a novel experience. We almost never pay for food. Mm-hmm. So, that's there. We get the table, and this kind of behavior, this entitled behavior, continues the entire meal, with my mom asking for really, and maybe my kind of nerves were already shot on this, but she was like, yeah, I want this, and I don't want this, this, and that. No, I want to make sure you heard me. I said I don't want cheese on it. Right? Did you hear that? I don't want cheese. That kind of thing. Yeah. So that's going on kind of in the background the whole time, the entire meal. And I stand up at one point. I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom. And really, I walked over to our waitress. And I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry that my parents are this way.
They're assholes.
They're being assholes tonight.
I'm just glad my father's already drunk.
Yeah. I was like, my dad seems pretty chill. He's had a few. I'm paying for dinner tonight. I know it's not a full apology, but I'm gonna give you a good tip. And she was like, "Oh no, it's okay." I'm like, "It's not, but thank you for being very nice to me."
And I love you.
Yeah. So then, while we're eating dinner and salads and whatever, they start talking. I mean, we do have some positive conversations. We're talking about
but tonight wasn't one of them.
Well, we're talking about our garden and stuff about work for me, and some issues that I'm having at work right now, which is part of story number 2. And Mom goes, because we somehow, I don't know how this come up, but somehow GMOs came up, genetically modified organisms. And my mom is super anti-science and all aspects, and so she thinks GMOs are gonna cause you to have weird DNA splicing, how people,
the vaccines.
How people will say, who don't understand how this works, well, they spliced the genes from a fly with a blueberry or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or they made a living blueberry fly. It's no, that's not how that works. My mom believes that.
Ugh.
And she goes, yeah, I saw on Fox that Putin came out and said that he was banning GMOs from Russia because of how much they were causing cancer or something like that. And I just, the eye roll from me was audible. And my dad, very surprisingly, goes, no, honey, that doesn't have anything to do with GMOs. That has to do with the fact that there's all these sanctions on them. So he's just saying that to save face and try to make a political statement about it. And I'm like, wow. So proud of you.
He found the Balmer curve where he's just drunk enough to not be an asshole, but not too drunk to be saying gibberish.
Yeah. And so that kind of shut Mom down.
He's perfected his alcoholism. I'm so proud.
Then Jesus came up. Mom was like, so are you going back to church yet? I'm like, no, Mom, we've talked about this. I really don't want to talk about this at the dinner table. She's like, because I recently I didn't cut my hair a lot. I cut it a little bit because I had like some tangles and some tats. Like I just didn't take good care of my hair for a while. So, you got to cut it short, get rid of all that stuff, clean up the split ends. She was like, I see that you cut your hair. Does that mean that you're finally going to be coming back to church? I'm like, what? No. I just am like making my hair nice. She's like, well, like they say in whatever Bible verse, train up a child in the ways of the Lord and they'll not depart from him or something like that. She spouts off this Bible verse and I'm like, nope, not going back to church. And my kid, I've talked about this before. Katie's Christian. King's sometimes, well, she's more religious and spiritual than like Christian. She doesn't like modern day Christianity, but there's similar. Anyways, so she, is religious, spiritual. My kid does stuff with her sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't. And my kid goes like, "Well, Mom says that's not what that verse means." And like me and Katie both like give him a death stare, like don't go there. We're at the restaurant, kid. We'll talk about it later. And Mom was like, well, since your daddy's not a Christian, he wouldn't know what it means. And then I'm like, sure thing, Mom. If that's how you wanna, that's how you wanna take it.
Now, what's that verse about women not talking and right?
Yeah, not you're not supposed to wear pants and speak in church and
so shut the fuck up.
So then after that, near the end of dinner, we're winding down, just kind of waiting on the check. And my dad pulls out this like little box, like a little jewelry box type thing. And he hands it to me and he's like, "Here's all these, son." And I'm like, what is in here? He's like, well, when you were over at the house last time and I got out that ring and I showed it to you and sent it home with you, it got me thinking, and I wanted to get out all my old rings and your grandfather's rings, and I just thought it was time to pass them on to you. And I've been down this road with him before, and I say, Dad, I will take this, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not interested in these things. We've had this conversation before. If you give them to me, I will thank you for them, and then there's a good chance that I'm going to get rid of them. So I'm not going to lie to you about that.
How many pawn shops are we driving past?
And did I tell you about the ring? I can't remember if I did or not. I haven't really told very many people about this. Okay. I should take a picture of this and send it to you.
How gaudy! On a scale from 25-cent gumball, out of a dispenser thing, to Pope.
This thing looks like it should be fake costume jewelry, but it's like, I think it's 18 karat gold. It's got this huge black onyx stone in the middle and then a bunch of diamonds around it. It does not want to take a good picture. Focus right there, phone. Give me the diamonds. I don't have like a quarter here. Yeah, I have this bottle cap for scale. But anyways, I say this to him.
Banana?
I don't have any bananas in here either. I don't eat bananas anymore. I like them, but as far as fruit goes, bananas has the most carbs per serving of any other fruit.
And the most radiation.
That too.
Look at it this way. If I eat enough bananas, I'd develop superpowers. Unfortunately, that superpower may be cancer.
Incredible edible colon cancer. But anyways, like I say this to him at the dinner table, and his face, you would have thought that I had like stabbed him in the heart. And he gets all huffy and mad. He's like, if I give these to you, I expect you to keep them. And I said, no, if you give them to me, they're mine, and I'm going to do what I want with them, which is likely to be getting rid of them. And he gave them to me anyways, and he was like, you'll keep them. I know you will. I know you'll change your mind and do the right thing.
So what's the nearest pawn shop?
So I legitimately, I think that this ring that I sent you a picture of is worth probably $5,000 between the gold and how much gold there is and all of the stones, and sort of like scrap value. It's not worth as much, but I think like given what it is, I'm going to take it and get it appraised A lot of the other stuff is honestly like just trash. I'm gonna have it all double checked just to be sure, because like
Mm-hmm.
there's the possibility like these older class rings and commemorative rings are real. So on the off chance that they actually are valuable, I'm gonna get them checked out. But they look just like generic, class rings and stuff that you might see. But he was big mad. But I have learned like, because I've lied to him before. He's given me stuff and I've gotten rid of it, and he's found out about it, and then he has blown the fuck up on me. So now I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell him up front, I'm a grown ass man. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And I will say, I mean, I'm kind of bitching about the exhausting and I guess you could say interesting parts of the story. There were some bits of it that were nice. You're right. My dad was like the right level of drunk that we could have some decent conversations talking about my work, my career, where I'm at. He seems to have made peace with the fact that I'm never going to be interested in the family business. That came up a little bit.
It's a tire shop, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just making sure I remember that correctly.
Yeah, it's kind of expanded over the years a little bit. He does some more sort of general auto mechanic work as well, but tires are his primary business.
Mm-hmm.
He back in the early web e-commerce days, when eBay and Amazon were really starting to find their feet, and some stores were starting to develop their own e-commerce shops. He had perhaps one of the only forward-thinking ideas I've ever seen him have, which is, the internet is definitely here to stay. I should start an online business. And he started selling tires and wheels and things online, and he made a fucking fortune. And he dropped the entire delivery side of his business, and he now only does online stuff and work in his local shop. He's got a couple of trucks that he uses for when he needs to go like pick up big orders and stuff. But he doesn't he
basically had the right idea at the right time.
Right idea at the right time. Mm-hmm. So but I've talked to you some about it. I've talked to my therapist a ton about all the trauma that I have associated with that place. Like when he dies, if, mom has said she's going to sell it too, but whenever he dies, one of us or both of us is going to sell it. Although I will say the one positive thing out of that is for tax purposes, I'm one of the officers in the company.
Mm-hmm. Do you get a badge?
How it's listed. I don't. I have a business card somewhere. I need to get a new one.
No, wait. I just realized the ring. It's your badge.
Ooh, right. It's like a signet ring.
It's the ring of office.
Yeah, but the one good thing about it is that I got to set my own title. So I am the corporate VP of moon-based operations.
I was just waiting for that, contract from NASA to really make your time shine, right?
He actually has sent some stuff to NASA once. That really legit happened. They were one of the Mars rovers. They were looking at different ideas, different stuff, and so they sent out a contract to people for hey, if you've got experience, we'd like to buy some different stuff, do some testing. And it was Dad knew a guy who put his name into the hat, and we got a phone call from NASA at one point, and they were like, "Hey,
I bet that made your mom happy." No, they're gonna kill us to keep the idea that the planet's round in the schools.
I honestly don't remember what her reaction was to it. Dad was pumped. I was too. Honestly, that was pretty fucking cool. They did wind up buying some stuff, not for the rover. He sat on a panel and talked about tire composition and design and presented a thing to them. And then they bought some golf cart wheels and tires for one of their facilities. So we did not send anything to space, but we did talk to NASA at one point. That was pretty badass. Story number 2. This one has to do to work. Boy howdy, I came home and just kind of crashed for a little while because of this. So I've mentioned this before, but it's been almost a year ago when this whole saga started. There was a client at my office who lived in one of the assisted living facilities for the severely mentally unwell who killed himself.
Hmm.
And there were some issues with his paperwork and some issues with documentation. And it seemed like there had been some people who dropped the ball. Um, it's it's now been confirmed. At the time I speculated, I think that's why my former boss quit. She was kind of forced out. They didn't want to fire her, but they forced her to resign.
Hmm.
That actually has been confirmed. And one of the social workers that works for us also quit because of that. And beyond just, the fact that it was a, loss of life, which is never good, we got sued. And they've kept that hush hush for a while.
Hmm.
But I had to be sort of read into the lawsuit today. I have not done anything wrong, but when my former boss left, I was the only therapist at our location for 6-7 months, something like that. And so I inherited her entire caseload, which
Oh,
included
joy.
this individual. And there was some stuff in his file that, because the documentation was wrong, I had to go in, I had to fix some things, I had to amend some documents. And it's like it's a process. Like, you go in and, like, you can do this. It's not like you remove the old stuff and replace it. Like, you go in and you do sort of addendums and corrective notes, and they all link back to the stuff. And so this lawsuit has been ongoing in the background for not quite a full year, something like 8-10 months. And I got a call today that was like, hey, you've had, you were the one who made the corrections to this person's file. We need you to meet with our legal team, like, today. Like, you have to meet with our legal team today. You got to clear your schedule. We're going to do a conference call. It's going to be, we don't know how long it's going to be. We're going to have to go through these notes with you, this documentation, and see why it is that you did what you did and said what you said and changed what you said, and why did you change it. I mean, they're basically
What did you do?
they're trying to pin it on my former boss, which, as much as I did not like that woman, this is not entirely her fault. Working, like, people who don't do this kind of work, it's one of those things, like, whenever you don't do something, you don't understand the context of the situation and how difficult it can be, or how things that seem so obvious from 50,000 feet away when you're in the moment are just like snap decisions that you're making. This person, not my former boss, the person who killed himself, the easiest way to explain it is he felt like it was his mission to die. He was severely schizophrenic. No amount of medication seemed to help. And he had a long history of attempts to escape from the facility, attempts to kill himself, attempts to hurt other people, maybe even kill other people. Like, he was on, like, as high a level of security and as high a level as watch as there could be. But whenever you're around someone like that, over time, you start to develop burnout on that person. And, that might sound awful, but, like, that's just kind of the nature of the job. And we live in an area of the country that has generally underfunded mental health facilities. There are certainly issues with this everywhere, sort of like, contracting to the lowest bidder kind of deals. But it's very bad in the southern United States. And so everyone who was working with him just kind of got tired and started to be a little lax with their documentation, a little lax with their procedures, a little lax with their precautions. So to pin it on any one person is not correct. I mean, they're going to do it anyways. That's how the legal system works. You find a scapegoat, you pin the blame on them, they suffer the consequences, you move on, and you don't have to make any systemic change. But, I had to go through for hours. It took like 5.5 hours today, like right before lunch. I was like, they told me, and they cleared my schedule for the afternoon, and I got lunch, and I went into my boss's office, and we hopped on a conference call for the rest of the day. So that's one of my stories. It's just like, man, that sucks. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that ever again. So, story 2. Story 3, I get home today. I'm sitting on the couch in my living room, petting the dog, and he's one of our dogs, and he's laying on his back on the couch, and it looks like he needs a bath. He's dirty, and it's like, oh, do you have like something on your fur? Like, do you have something on your skin? Like, is it just dirt? So like picking at some stuff, making sure it's not ticks or he's not gotten scratched up or anything. And my kid walks in and he goes, why are you poking at his udders?
Oh no.
Now, we have had the sex talk with my kid, and we are very, like, open with him about things. I've had conversations with him. Well, we, Katie and I have had conversations with him about things like gender, sexuality, being gay, kind of dipping our toes. He's still only 9. It's not that he's dumb, but sometimes it's really hard to explain things to him because he doesn't have context. But, we have dipped our toes into what it is to be a trans person and, treating people of different religious beliefs with respect, or even if they have no religious beliefs, and, like all of this stuff. So it's like, he's had the sex talk, like he's had, but it's like, he just asks this question, and Katie's sitting there and she's talking to me about my day, and we go on this tangent for almost an hour. That's like, well, buddy, he doesn't have udders. Dogs don't have udders. Cows and sheep and a few other animals have udders. He has nipples, just like you do, just like daddy, just like mommy.
You want to see? Sorry.
And then somehow
I caught you off guard. I'm sorry.
A little bit, and somehow that turns into like, well, why don't dogs have udders? Why don't humans have udders? Well, because they have nipples and breasts, and it's, well, what's the difference in breasts and udders? And we somehow get around to the fact that, like, he was breastfed as a baby, like many children, most of children throughout history have been breastfed, and that blew his goddamn mind. And we talked about that for half an hour, 40 minutes. He was like, well, why? Does that mean I milked you? We fucking lost it. And, like, he's asking innocent questions, and we're trying so hard not to, like, bust out laughing, but it is hilarious. Teachable moments. It's like, does that mean I milked you? Why would I do that? It's like, no, buddy, that's not how that works. And every time he would say, like, udders, I'm like, well, so, sometimes you think of them like that. There's certain segments of the internet, but I'm like, I can't say that to my 9-year-old. I can't tell him about that. He's not ready.
Oh, he's not ready for the anime convention and seeing the furries running around.
No, that's something we haven't had a conversation about yet. So that one, less detailed of a story, but it was genuinely nearly an hour. Like, I got home, I'd put soup in the crock pot today, so it was in the crock pot. And when I came home, I put some rice on to have to add a little extra sort of volume and bulk to the soup. And the rice, like, finished and then sat on the stove while we had this conversation. Like, it sat there for so long it started to get cold. Which kind of didn't matter.
This is what you need a rice cooker.
Yeah. But, it was just like, kids. One of our friends was over, and, like, she heard this entire conversation, and I look at her and I'm like, so, do you still want kids?
So, how do you feel about your udders?
God, Hannah would respond pretty well to that, actually. She would take that in stride. But I did not say that. But it's like, so, do you still want kids? And she goes, I'm having second thoughts. I'm like, you will have this conversation or one like it with your child. All children have, like, asked questions like this. She goes, so you guys handled it really well. I was like, well, thanks.
While you were talking about udders, and
go
lack
on.
thereof, I've been poking around the internet, and I'm sure Logitech loves the news today. Or have you seen that one?
No.
Okay, so have you heard about the submersible that is missing around the wreck of the Titanic?
No.
Okay. Backing up further. There is a tourist company that sends a submersible down for tours of the wreck of the Titanic costing $250,000 each. All right. So rich assholes.
Of course.
And, well, they've gone missing.
Oh
And
no. So anyway,
pretty much. But it's basically kind of the news cycle has gotten this laser focus on this company that has had some dubious history, such as the founder of the company uh, filed multiple lawsuits because he didn't like all the regulation that his company was having to be put under. Because, right,
of course.
mind you, he's also the one that was piloting the sub. So, all right, well, it came out that the sub was entirely piloted by a Logitech PlayStation style controller. Like a
I did see, like, I saw something about this and I was like, huh,
yeah,
I'll come
uh,
back to that later. And I haven't.
yeah, and I bet Logitech just absolutely loves all this coverage on their shitty little like PS3 PC controller.
I
I
had
saw
one of those. I had one of those controllers many years ago.
and he also had it hooked up to either Bluetooth or the little dongle.
Yeah.
Because that they showed, like he was sitting in the sub, and it's like press a power button, and it turns the sub on and connects to the controller. And he's talking about how I mean, it's a slightly modified. He like glued some joysticks to it, to the thumbsticks to have a little finer control, I guess. But I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here thinking, I wonder if they're missing because they forgot to charge the controller.
Oh, jeez.
My dark sense of humor is just sitting here thinking, what if it wasn't some sort of catastrophic failure and they got crushed like a pop can, uh, or a beer can on a fraternity brother's head, right?
Yeah.
What if they're down there in the dark because they forgot to charge the controller, and they had, from the sounds of it, this sub has no backup systems. There's no like buoy or they communicated to the surface via text message
Oh.
and by SMS text messages. And on some of the BBC articles, talking about the reporters that took like earlier voyages to him showing off the technology. Them losing communication is a normal thing, which no, that's not normal. You're going down a few miles. That's not normal. And also, he the bubble. Oh, what?
I owned one of those. I bought it in 2014. They're
It,
still selling them on Amazon.
yeah, for a whole $15. Although,
Yeah.
although his is a wireless version, so. But yeah, a $15 controller essentially controlling a submersible, because right,
Yep.
that seems like such a bad idea.
That sounds like an awful idea, but that does sound like something that someone would do. That was
And there's also this kind of irony of the hubris of man causing more casualties at the wreck of the fucking Titanic, right?
yeah, poetic justice.
Uh, Although honestly, I think the most likely thing is that the sub just failed, that there was a catastrophic failure, because there was also reports of the bubble that was used in the front window of the sub to the company would not certify it down below like 1,000 meters because of the experimental design of the sub.
Yeah.
And it's just still, it would be funny if they get down there and the controller runs out of power, and that's it. All right, no
Yeah.
backups.
Or even if it didn't run out of power, it just malfunctioned in some way.
Yeah, because it's also it's not even one of the really good Logitech controllers, which I know Logitech has some essentially their budget line and then their not so budget line that's slightly less shit. And I can say that because I have Logitech stuff here sitting in front of me. And it could get frustrating at times.
I too am using a Logitech mouse and keyboard. You and I have the
Mhm.
same keyboard. I bought my keyboard
Yeah.
after I saw yours and really liked it. Although I'm
I've
using,
actually I've not had any trouble with the keyboard. I've had trouble with the mouse occasionally. The software just being a little disagreeable.
yeah,
But
I have
I'm
the,
just sitting here thinking, what if the controller died?
yeah,
uh, let's see. Yeah, uh, they would only certify the bubble to a depth of 1,300 meters due to the experimental design of the viewport, which was out of the pressure vessel for humans occupancy standards. OceanGate refused to pay for the manufacturer to build the viewport, and would that would beat the required depth of 4,000 meters, and went to a different place because right.
yeah. I am never gonna go under the ocean like that. I'm not afraid of the ocean or of water, but I guess I should say I'm not gonna intentionally do something that stupid if I don't have to. Like that feels ignorant to me. Like to do that, to take a weird little experimental sub down, to the bottom of the ocean to look at the Titanic.
Mm-hmm. Although I do have to admit, there was some funny comments about. Imagine going into a life situation with the player two controller. Which, oh no! Oh, why? Why did Mad Cats have to fold? This would have been perfect for them.
Yes.
Have one of their weird ass controllers controlling the sub. Although Mad Cats would at least had a wired controller. Because if I recall correctly, I've never had a Mad Catz wireless controller that actually functioned.
Yeah, same. I had a couple for console, but they didn't work.
Mm-hmm. I remember, I'm not sure if it was Mad Catz, but my first kind of introduction to wireless controllers was using infrared controllers, and you had to hold it like the perfect angle, and then it just still wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I think that's why I kind of held on to wired controllers for so long. Is that I had so many bad experiences that whenever I had actually good wireless controllers, it felt like black magic there for a while. I gotta admit, sometimes, especially with some of the motion controls on the Switch, it still feels a little bit like black magic. Like I'm gaslighting Windows or something.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Oh,
All right. Are you ready? We've been going off for like what, 45 minutes, I think.
yeah, I think so. So time for a short show.
Yeah. What's the recording time at, Craig? You start at 9:55, so it's been almost an hour.
Well, that'll get us back to some Franken content.
Well, we had Franken content, but boy howdy, it's stories tonight.
Oh, I do have one other short story, real quick.
Okay.
So I'm going to be a cat grandpa.
Nice.
So a month ago, inadvertently adopted a cat because half-starved cats showed up on the back porch and decided let it in, and I mean, she was way, 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 way underweight. Just practically skin and bones. Well, turns out she also smuggled in some kittens along the way because she was like 2 weeks along pregnant. So, gonna have some fun times in a couple weeks, right?
Nice.
No idea what we're going to do with the kittens just yet. Knows that she has at least one, maybe two or three. She's also really still tiny, so I guess we'll see about that one. So there is that, which I've kind of suspected that she was pregnant for quite a while because she's a little rotund in certain places, but not like one of my other cats that's just fat. she's not rotund all around,
Yeah.
and couldn't really tell whenever we first got her because kids already still have kind of that paunch, and she was so underweight it was hard to tell if it was just like loose skin or what. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Anita gets to experience the miracle birth because she's never had a pregnant cat before. I have. It could either be really easy or really really difficult. There's no in between. So if in a couple weeks we have a very short show, likely Kat decided to interrupt the Tuesday recording because of course, right?
Of course. I've never had a pregnant cat. Pregnant
Uh,
dogs, yes. Pregnant cat, no.
I've I've had a cat give birth in my bedroom when I was a teenager. Uh, Actually got into some of my like chest of drawers, ripped up some books in there, and gave birth in there overnight. Hmm. And I did not wake up to that. She was actually very stealthy about it. So